Morning. I am going to try this one more time. I've been trying unsuccessfully to videotape my speech and my presentation to you, and I've had some struggles, but here we go. The death penalty is the result beneficial or not. There's nothing more imaginable than having an appointment in a designated time that your life is scheduled to end. Think about what state of mind you would always be in every day that you awaken, knowing that you literally have an appointment with death due to a bad decision you made or not. But the end result is a jury of your peers rendering a verdict of guilty and remanding you to a death sentence for your crime. While you're awaiting this day of execution, you are housed in a 60 square foot metal cage, 23 hours per day, and people you don't know, around people you don't know, and supervised by people who may have an issue with the mere fact that you're on death row. As a young man, a family member was sentenced to death row for a crime he admittedly committed. The crime stemmed from a drug-induced condition that was initiated because he had experienced consistent losses. And he and his girlfriend had suffered losses back to back. And he really didn't know how to handle it. And because of that, he went into a usage that afternoon that stemmed all into the evening, him and her, that was drug-oriented and with alcohol. And he had never indulged in anything like that before, hence his bizarre behavior that would ultimately end up in him committing a murder. And also that same mental state and behavior would be enhanced once he was housed in the 60-foot cage of total isolation and treatment by those who were guards that were brutal and disrespecting, to say the least. Many, if not all of us, know someone who is incarcerated, but not many people know someone on death row. Around 2,500 prisoners currently face execution in the United States. The national death row population has declined for 18 consecutive years as sentence reversals, executions, and deaths by other causes are outpacing new death sentences. My presentation today will discuss the death penalty and death row, what that means to someone who is sentenced to death, and what research says about the effects on the family and the individual. And I just want to give you a few facts first. In 96% states where there have been reviews of race and the death penalty, there was a pattern of either race of victim or race of defendant discrimination, or both. According to a survey of the former and present presidents of the country's top academic criminological societies, 88% of these experts rejected the notion that the death penalty acts as a deterrent to murder. In Texas, a death penalty case cost an average of $2.3 million, about 3 times the cost of imprisoning someone in a single cell at the highest security level for 40 years. There are almost 3,000 people still awaiting execution on death row. Of this number, there are 212 here in the state of Texas. There are currently 21 states which have now outlawed the death penalty. Death row prisoners are typically incarcerated in solitary confinement, subject to much more deprivation and harsher conditions than other prisoners. As a result, many experience declining mental health. Amongst the isolation of death row alone, driving many inmates to insanity and even death. The family suffrage is massive, from the feelings of helplessness due to having someone that you love, who you know will never feel the warmth of touching someone that you love, who will never feel the warmth of touching anyone ever again for the entire duration that they're on death row. And that really is significant within itself, just thinking about the fact that you lose the ability to even touch someone. Families also experience guilt of having to face that they not only have someone in prison, but they are on death row, which many times does increase the shame and pressure, not only on the parents and siblings, but if they are parents, they have children, it really is hard to overcome or cope with. No amount of killing is going to bring your loved one back. And people surely don't want the state using your pain and suffering to justify another family losing their loved one, even if they are guilty. It was stated, and it is true, the death penalty further victimizes families because the comparative infrequency with which it is sought and obtained is really says to most that your loved one was not valuable enough to them. So no, the result, in my opinion, and supported by research, the result is not beneficial. Our personal experience has been one that is irreversible for the enormous amount of guilt and pain that is honed by his mother, for not knowing what happened in his final hours of confinement until his untimely death, and to believe that no one was able to witness his death, the family that was injured, nor his family. He died alone, an unexplained cause of death, and via natural causes, not the death chamber after all. And that within itself supports again that the result of the death penalty is not beneficial. Thank you.